Hello friends, this is another game of War Selection, and we've got two good players, Monger and Sashkorin. Monger is a Polish player who has been playing for a while now, and Sashkorin, many think he's the second best player right now, since most of the pro players like X Factor are a bit inactive right now. Let's see how this game goes. We can see both players starting like the usual. However, Monger forgot to get his house. For some reason he decided to get it a bit far away, which costed him some workers. And it would happen again due to the fact that he just was popped out. And now he's forgetting to put them somewhere, so I think he will be on 0 soon enough. Although this is a good warehouse placement, since he's getting those trees, later get a warehouse here. As we can see, the map is pretty good. There's like everything, a lot of fish, iron, a good wood line in the front, and this is of course for both players. Yes, like I said, Monger is on 0 wood right now, and Sashkorin is doing good, but he also forgot his house. And right now, he's going to put every single worker onto it. Yep. Probably make houses right here. As we can see from this map already, it's a small map, and most resources are locked behind the entrance from the base. So, the best choice to do on this map is just go Asia and make a proxy. Control this, and your enemy will slowly run out of resources. And there will be nothing he can do. Let's see how these players will play this out. Let's speed up a bit. No reason to watch this. We already talked about everything. And we can see Monger getting 1 deer, which is advantageous, but he already has a lot of food. It's always something. Gotta watch out for this alligator though. And especially this tiger. Monger going for fast piece, as we can see, and Sashkorin plays a bit slow. He did not take the berry upgrade, maybe due to his low food, but if I was him, I would just put the warehouse here and kill this alligator. It's perfect, a lot of fish. You can probably stay on this fish until Iron Age, if not even later. Well, let's see. This is good. We can already see that he's a good player from looking at his eco. Before going Bronze Age, he made sure to renew it and make some new warehouses. Although he should put some workers from this warehouse to here. As you can see, not all of them are working and some are getting stuck. This is due to the workers being clamped up on one tree. He's getting some good defense, very nice, some bulwarks, and Monger is just coming right now. If you take a look on his side of the map, he is playing very aggressive fighting beats, which is a bit too much. I would play with 4, and those bulwarks are a bit useless due to him being the aggressive one, so already he wants to win, but somehow prepares for defense at the same time. It's a bit of a waste, I think, especially seeing that, well, his resources are quite good actually, but he does need to improve his eco. He did take the good fishing spot, but those warehouses are just way too bad. This is going to finish soon, and let's be honest, this warehouse is not needed, since he can get everything from here by his temple. And those, to be honest, now I would delete those 2 and put 2 new again, or even 3, in a line, so they gather faster. Let's see what he will do next. Of course, he's in Sashkorin's base already. He got a deer, but right now it's too late. Gang Europe, interesting choice. I do know that he wants to practice Europe, but this map can be horrendous for Europe. And we can already see some workers falling down. Keep in mind, 0 and every worker means a lot. It's 14 seconds. You use 5 workers, you lose a minute of your time. You never want that to happen. And right now, of course, this was one of the first mistakes. How can we counter this? Easy. Instead of having his army be in the middle of his base, instead he should have split it onto the 2 entrances. That would stop the army of Monger and give him a bit of time, if not stop it at all. And the other bad thing is that he did not make this warehouse here quickly enough, and because of that he's struggling on foot, with only 3 workers so far on the farm, and a bit of the fish, which they are walking a bit far. It's going to be hard for him to keep up. There are some annoying singers in his base, but that doesn't really matter anymore. They will be super easy to stop. On Monger's side, you can see that he went Asia and already gets his poetry art, which is perfect. Although his food is rather lacking. He will quickly need to send about 20 workers onto it. That's what most players do. So if he has a lot of food, he should be able to. But it seems like he got it quite late and not spread it out too well. Usually you want to spread them out in an X formation, he did it in a line. And took only 7 workers. It's very interesting, as those workers, well, berry workers aren't doing that much. I think he didn't even take the upgrade, and those workers have to walk a bit too far. He could use some more workers on this farm. But well, so far, so good. The stingers are coming again, hunting for this poor scout. And he didn't even die. Unless he does now. Nope, survived. Sashkorin now has his army, as we can see, getting a wall up. Very smart. If I was him, I would get some stables to ruin his eco. And of course get some bows soon. This 3 line is kinda good. Like I said, could use another warehouse, but it's better than nothing. At least it's in a good state. Still needs some more workers on foot though, as he won't be able to upkeep with army, and trading might be hard for him. Especially now that he's getting those expensive archers. Hopefully he doesn't forget about his upgrades. This arrow upgrade would be, of course, really useful. Since he's making archers, I think it gives about 2 or 1 damage. Always useful though. Dancing in front of his base, very nice. Upgrading his towers was a bit too much, I'd say. It costed him a lot. And right now he should be bringing his workers to his food. And he is, but he must have clicked wrong, as half of those workers are not even working. He is getting the staples now, but I wouldn't say that's the smartest idea, as there's nothing here to be destroyed with rams, and well, horses right now won't be any use. Monger, on the other hand, his food eco is amazing, but his wood is just trembling down. Due to making a lot of buildings and not having those extra warehouses that he needed, he's really struggling on it. Both players have gotten their pierced, and Sashkorin is getting his boats up as well. A few towers here, you can see that. Those towers will not be so useful though. as they can only hit so far. Instead, I would put them here, not make this at all. And those ones are pretty good, to be honest, especially in this choke point. Monger needs to be using them even more, I'd say. Just go with his army back there. And if this tower goes on low HP, he can always repair it. The worst thing he's doing right now is not using his workers at all. But I mean, he does not have a warehouse. Yeah, this is just simply an act of desperation. Just taking his food workers to my trees. But doing that, he just blocks them. That's not really worth it. What I would do is take a few of the bronze workers and put them onto the stone. Sure, maybe the mining speed is slower, but it's always something better than nothing. So far, there's a big difference with the eco on both players' side. As we can see, Sashkorin is really winning with the eco, even though he's 0-0 due to spending too many resources. His eco was fairly good during this game, but he might be struggling a bit on foot. Of course, not being able to make any army. However, since he's Europe, I wouldn't worry too much, as now he has gotten his warehouse, and that willpower spike him quite at all. He is making horses, although he did not take the DPS upgrade. Well, that's very bad, but what can you do? Let's see, Monger took all the upgrades, which is good. Heavy archers are really strong. At his... Well, if I was him, I would take the capacity upgrade as well. It's always 2 extra archers, and he's now pop capped, so basically that would be free. His eco, although, is still struggling at dawn. Not having those extra warehouses does hurt him a lot. Now, both players have entered medieval. One of them has been taking the pop upgrade for a few seconds, and of course taking the fish, which Monger does not do. Those fishers will give Sashkorin a big advantage, I am sure of that. One fishing boat is about 4 workers, when it comes to food, of course. They cannot be underestimated. And the Titan's turn. Monger right now is the one with less resources, and Sashkorin, even though not so much in the front, is still leading. The big change though, the big difference, is that he will be able to upgrade his houses and make new ones because of his extra wood. Something that Monger cannot do. And this extra population will help him get through this game. Let's see how this will go out. Monger probably will want some rocket cannons to break this wood line, and probably hit some of the towers as well, maybe workers. Right now we can see the fire with Tiger. I've seen 1 kill on it, not too bad, could be better. And the eco is still struggling. Even though Sashkorin is at 0, his income is stable. When Monger is at 1,000, but he's really losing a lot of this income, especially when it comes to food. Forgetting to replenish his ducks, being too focused on fighting, it is quite a lot of damage to his economy. I suppose right now this is a bit of a stalemate. Besides these junks, I don't think anything will happen so far. As Monger is well prepared with his 2 galleys. Sashkorin is well prepared with his 2 galleys. Hopefully gonna replenish his food soon. Take those upgrades for horses. Upgrade those barracks, they are very crucial. It's 40% cheaper archers, 7 seconds quicker. you don't wanna leave those barracks on, since you just lose way too much resources for nothing. It's better to upgrade them. And so far, I think Sashkorin is doing pretty good. With those workshops, she's going to be pushing out, and all Monger can do is just throw a bit at him. Those rocket cannons will do a lot, but with only 3 workers building them, I don't think they will get out quick enough. And Sashkorin again forgets his workers on the farm. Let's see Monger's economy. And right now, the big mistakes many players do is stacking up the workers on their farm. Those workers, even though it's like 15, work about the same as 8 workers, because they have to walk around, they can do their work. Remember to always spread your workers. Even more since he's lacking on food. You can see our warehouse here, of course, gonna need those extra wood lines. Although I'm not sure if 1 warehouse is enough. I would put about 3 here to maximize my income. And of course, the junks were nothing like expected against galleys. They cannot do much. What Monger has to do is just go up to 2nd medieval and get some warships to end this game. Because with junks, he obviously cannot destroy any buildings. They are too easy to defend. And right now, the only shit she has is rocket cannons, which, let's be honest, isn't the best, but isn't the worst either. So far it's looking bad for him. Once he has to upgrade those shooting ranges without heavy archers, it will be hard to stop the archer spam. And some archers are being stacked as well. Nope, he just haven't moved them. 4 junks coming in. Monger still stacking on his food, forgetting his ducks, and not getting enough fishing boats. Looking at Sashkorin, the only thing he struggles with is wood, but it's not really a big problem as his eco is quite well managed. Just 1 more warehouse here and he will be having everything he needs. Now it's time to push with his galleys, and probably also time to push with his army. As Monger is losing his heavy archers, he's going to have to pay some more food on this. Trying to harass here with rocket cannons. I'm not sure if this is the right idea, as Sashkorin's army is still pushing in the front. There will be nothing to harass soon if he doesn't focus on defending that. 8 workers not doing anything. 4 workers not doing anything here. This is a big surprise, as he should be doing whatever he can right now to try and get to 2nd medieval, which he is not even trying. That's a lot of workers. Sashkorin has 79 and also not going 2nd medieval, which is a big surprise. Both of those players should be going 2nd medieval, well, about right now. Monger even earlier, as he is Asia, but they just don't seem to be trying to do that. Maybe they are worried about the iron, maybe not. But we can see that Monger is far more aggressive on the sea, and Sashkorin, his strategy is to have Monger use all of his population on the sea and push on the land. Take out this iron, as his iron is finished, and slowly win this game. He knows that those chunks can simply die to towers, and he is not worried at all. Going to sacrifice his fishing, he can get more pop to even push harder. And this is exactly what he is doing right now. Monger, even though he's full pop, Right now he's struggling. As slowly his shooting ranges are going down. And without them, he cannot do anything to beat this army. Some squads are coming out, which is a good choice. They soak up a bit of damage from those archers. And at this point, the rocket cannons are just a waste. This army is just too big. Looking at the game right now, even though Monger is getting some damage on the workers, I don't think this is enough. His eco isn't the best, and Sashkorin's army is just pushing through and through. Even though he's still not being second medieval for some reason, his eco is well managed. As for Monger, he's trying something but doesn't yet know what. This is the big difference when it comes to those two players. Both of them are good at fighting, but one is better at the eco than the other. And in the end, it matters a lot. Because even a second without resources can change the outcome of the game. Now, this was an okay idea, besides the fact that of course you can just go in here and it will lock those boats up here. But I mean, it always gives you some time. And right now all Monger can do is just make spearmen. He will not make it to the second medieval due to his iron. Maybe he shouldn't have been making those samurai. But I mean, since he did, there's nothing he can do anymore. With 0 iron, it is simply over for him. When Sashkorin is now just starting to get next age. So that's it. There's nothing Monger can do anymore. He can spam towers, can do anything he wants with everything that he has, all the wood, all the food, but without iron he cannot go up the age. Without iron he can make more units. Only Ashigarus and archers, which I mean a sort thing, but it's only so long until second medieval will just finish him. Now, stopping his second medieval upgrade, he has to get some resources. I want him to get some more units. Although at this point he has to stop this upgrade while not having access to the iron, there's not much he can do, especially without hand cannons. His forces will simply not be strong enough. You can see those giants coming in. Probably will be trying to get some drops on. His last hope to win the game. As this push is just way too heavy for him to handle. There's nothing he can do about those catapults, and the archer spam is just too much. Soon, I am sure we'll be able to see some straylets, as second medieval is right here. The upgrades should be being taken soon, especially this one. Never forget about the second medieval upgrade, as it is very powerful. Cannons maybe as well. Let's take a look on this. And we can see there is just nothing Monger can do right now. The archers are harassing him too hard. And the junks, like I said, are coming with a drop. But I mean, what is a few Ashigarus going to change? Not a lot. Gunpowder upgrades are in. Steroids will be coming out soon. And looks like this is just his last hope. There should be nothing he can do but get some time on the front and hope that he can kill him with this drop. But obviously that's not possible due to the towers being here. And it's just a matter of time until he loses. Too many workers lost. No access to iron. And right now, simply, he's just going to try what he can. Sashkorin of course seized all of this, making some new towers that are not even needed. One of his boats goes down, losing some workers, and at this point he cannot even make the springers to do anything. That's the game. How about we see in depth what happened and all the mistakes that took place in it. Starting with Sashkorin, we can see an interesting yet well done prediction. Focus on the deer on the ground. In front of him is a scout that's going forward, which means that something had to be behind that deer. Sashkorin instantly moves his army into that place to defend that bush. Very well done. Once again, we can see deers being used as a sort of warning. This time, 4 deers were running into Sashkorin's base, which Sashkorin responded to instantly. Sending his army right there, especially with those 2 bulwarks, defending won't be too hard. That pesky alligator is a big problem to workers. Thankfully, Sashkorin has simply baited the alligator out of his aggro range. Instead of risking his workers and wasting their time, he decided to use only one for the same outcome. A big difference between Sashkorin and Monger is that our grain player has made his fishing boats much faster, which helped him a ton with his food production. A big rule that most of pro players use is to upgrade your resource buildings as soon as you get medieval, such as warehouses and farms. And that's exactly what we see Sashkorin doing. Thanks to this, his wood income will increase by 1 for each worker. And following the rule, we can see that he has instantly upgraded his farm for a higher income. Another rule pro players use every game is to, instead of upgrading your houses once you get medieval, just make a few new ones instead. This way it is far more efficient as you get more pop for slightly higher cost. Once Sashkorin is pushing out into Monger's proxy, he tries to make some towers above him, which gives him a huge advantage. Vision. While being harassed from the sea, Sashkorin instantly builds up some towers which renders Monger's junks useless. Doing this, he does not need to bring his army back to his base to defend. Lastly, after being attacked from the sea, Sashkorin decides to build a new mill away from the shore. At this distance, no alien ship will ever have the range to attack his food eco. Coming out to his mistakes, we can see that the first one he made is rather common, as he has simply forgot to continue in making his houses, forcing him to bring multiple workers to quickly uncap himself. Next, his worker management was simply not well done. While having an easy access to fish, he still has many workers on berries. I suggest moving some to the fishing and others to the woodline that's currently not being used to make his resources equal while also speeding them up. Now, here's a weird one. For some reason, he simply had one idle worker for a very long time, standing on the far left of his spawn. At this time of the game, Sashkorin has made a huge mistake while farming a bunch of berries for some reason. Keep in mind, he did not take the berry upgrade. His fishing workers are walking miles to deposit their food, making them almost useless. Instead, he should have just made a warehouse close by the iron before hitting into bronze age. Another big mistake of his is just not saving his workers. While Monger's slingers went right behind his woodline, he has brought his own slingers to defend. But honestly, he could have saved all his workers if he had simply danced with that one worker behind the woodline. As we can see, not even top players are safe from the wildlife, as this worker will fall to this alligator soon enough. Once again, he has forgotten something crucial. This time it was upgrading his houses. Being pop-capped does not allow him to make any workers, thus losing time. Following his tradition of forgetting, this time he forgot to take the armor upgrade for his slingers, which makes his fights much harder. While pushing out of his base, he made some weird tower placements. Those two towers have no range whatsoever. I would recommend pushing them a bit closer. Before getting to medieval, Sashkorin must have been so focused on the battle, he has forgot to replenish his wheat for 50 whole seconds. After hitting medieval, he haven't upgraded his barracks. Upgrading them would allow him to push out much faster due to the huge benefits that the upgrade provides. As for his last mistake, he has once more forgot to replenish his wheat, this time for 1 minute and 18 seconds, resulting in a total of 2 minutes and 8 seconds that he could spend with a constant food production. Switching sides to Monger, we can see that the first good thing he will do will be casting some deers running into his berries. This will surely boost his economy a bit. Here we can see two crucial things that Sashkorin also has done, but much later. One is baiting the alligator out of the way, the other is placing the warehouse by the iron, which allows Monger to fish much easier and faster. Very well done. We already seen this fight, but have you noticed what Monger has done here? Making the scout lead the way for slingers, it grants him a lot more vision and more time to react. While pushing into Sashkorin's base, Monger decided to prioritize killing his workers through the woodline, making them harder to spot. This was well played, although had he danced, he would have killed even more workers. Having his forward base was a good way to secure the iron from his enemy. If he could hold off a little longer, this game could have went very differently. Let's see what Monger did wrong. Starting off, we can see that he simply made his first house too far away, which led to him being pop-capped. Next, we can see Monger put workers onto berries too fast. By doing this, his wood economy is really struggling right now. Here we can see Monger's map at the start of the game. This is important because we know from this that Monger does not instantly scout his enemy. In some games, this can have grievous consequences. Monger right now is at 0 wood. And yet he has 6 workers to build with. Not only is this useless, but also harms his eco. While pushing his enemy, Monger started to set up bulwarks in his base. Not only are these bulwarks badly placed, but also from his scouting and his army he knows that his enemy cannot do anything to him right now, turning those bulwarks into a waste of resources. Many people can see nothing wrong here. But his temple is just badly placed. It's far away from the stone and close to a woodline that won't even exist soon. Instead, it would be better to push it closer to the stone or put it by those 2 woodlands at the bottom. Many may argue that he can get sniped there, but considering that his spawn is surrounded by water, this does not make a difference. We already know that Monger's forward base failed. But what could he do to fix it? Well, starting from the right side, a simple wall would be enough to let him defend with no trapper for a long while. The middle wall would let him push out with a late proxy and, most importantly, secure Sashkorin's woodline. The last line on the left represents towers that he could simply make early to harass Sashkorin. A part of Monger's struggles were due to food, which was indeed his fault. Since getting into Bronze Age, it took him 1 minute and 38 seconds to make his poultry yard. His forward base could have been much more aggressive, since he had a whole army. At the same time, he could have just made shooting ranges using his workers right in front of Sashkorin's base. What made his food eco even worse were his badly spread workers on his poultry yard. They were just blocking themselves all the time, therefore lowering his income. Yet another hit to his foot eco was getting his fishing just way too late, exactly at 25th minute and 44th second. If only Monger would use his faster ace to his advantage, he could have hurt Sashkorin a lot. Instead of fighting with his rocket cannons, he could have defended them to harass Eco. And once again we can see Monger struggling with his foot due to not spreading his workers. Looking at the worker count, we can see the difference between both players. Although Sashkorin has a bit more workers in the early game and less in the late game, it's all a part of his plan. At least I think so, because in the late game he could mash up a big army while being second medieval when Monger was not. There is a big difference. Not going up to age will slow you down a lot, and in the end the bad eco from Monger did lose him the game. Taking a look at Sashkorin's economy, we can see that it went rather smoothly. He has done very well in Stone Age and did just a few mistakes in Bronze Age. Looking further into the game, we can see that in Iron Age his eco is also well managed, and just a bit worse in Medieval, but at that point I'm sure he just wanted to finish the game with his strong push as Monger couldn't do anything. Taking a look at Monger, we can see that it's not too bad in early game. Hopefully, it will not get worse. Well, as we can see, it got much worse. Almost at all times, Monger's eco was horrible. His workers had to walk miles and miles on end. I cannot believe he even got into such a long game like this. It was really a miracle it wasn't on 0 at all times. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. I recommend you checking out Cheese Wheel Lord for more content. He's doing some pretty nice videos too. Please like and subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment, as I am working really hard on those videos. Especially this one took me an entire week.